And welcome to another episode of Geek Bytes Podcast. I'm Ramon Mejia.
I'm Edgardo Costa.
And every podcast we bring you the roundup of the week's best geek and tech news. Then we discuss that news and anything else we're interested in that week.
In geek news this week, we'll talk about the FBI drops Apple's lawsuit, Oculus Rift delivery, Microsoft build announcements, Instagram video expansion, Final Fantasy, which one's it? 15?
Yep,
yeah,
15.
The best trailers of the week and more.
And in our discussing section, we're going to talk about our reviews for Batman v Superman, Daredevil Season 2, Supergirl and Flash crossover. And now let's begin our show with Geek News. And, of course, this is going to be an update of an ongoing story. It seems like it's finally ended. Apple says that they don't need the FBI. This week, the FBI put the final nail in their court case with Apple over the San Bernardino phone. They asked the judge presiding on the case to vacate the order that tried to compel Apple to help them break into the phone. The FBI acknowledged that they were able to access the phone with the help of a third-party security company after all. The fight over the security and the fight between security and national security is not over, though. PC World reports that the ACLU has identified 64 cases where the United States Department of Justice has requested cooperation from either Apple or Google under the All Rights Order to unlock mobile devices. 7 of the 9 cases involving Google asked for a password reset. 30 of the cases are from 2015 or later. And this is in addition to the 12 cases identified by Apple's lawyer in February. So this case is actually over. They're actually trying to vacate the order, which means that legally it never happened.
Pretty much like we talked about it before. They found a guy.
They found a guy
to do it. Maybe a girl. But the law part kind of interests me that they're still pressuring on, but they dropped the case. But now it's going to be to the point, like, of course, the government gets in your business when they can't get what they want.
Yeah, there's already reports of, I think, the FBI helping someone, a police case in Oklahoma, to unlock their phone using the techniques that they learned from the San Bernardino case. So the balance between personal privacy rights on things like your phone or your laptop versus criminal court cases or, issues of national security are ongoing. And at this point, at least, the national consciousness of the issue has been raised. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's brought to people's attentions. Hopefully, just for those hopefully never to be soon terrorists or whatnot, they'll get to your stuff one way or another.
Yeah, no, I mean, all this doesn't stop bad people from doing bad things or having secret ways of communicating. None of this really affects that at all, to be honest.
Which also means for like single guys that are any kind of cheaters, guys or girls, they'll get to your stuff.
That's definitely a thing too.
Mm-hmm. All right, more tech-related news. Oculus Rift this week. The first consumer versions of Oculus Rift have arrived this week, and the internets have been going crazy. The first Rift was hand-delivered in Alaska by founder Palmer Luckey to the first person who pre-ordered it. Luckey live streamed the event on Facebook Live. Overall, the reviews of the Rift with its included games, Lucky's Tail and Eve Valkyrie, have been very positive. However, take into the account that there's not anything else compared to it right now, since there's only it's the only consumer VR headset available. The HTC Vive ships in April.
Yeah, so this week to me kind of belongs to Oculus in a lot of ways. It started arriving on Monday of this week. Again, Palmer Luckey hand delivered the very first one in Alaska. I thought that was pretty cool. He didn't have to go literally that far.
Wait, Alaska though, out of all the places, but then again, when you live in Alaska,
that's just the dude who ordered. He got it delivered to his work, so he couldn't actually use it live on the air. So they just kind of talked for a little bit, and Palmer Luckey, because Facebook owns Oculus, he live broadcast it on Facebook. So that's kind of cool.
They should have pre-done it the way they do the national the clearance house sweepstakes winners. Make sure call ahead. Hey, will you be home? Blah,
that would have surprised that would have ruined the surprise, though.
Well, a little bit if they know how to do it right. But it would have been awesome, but also messed up if like here it is. Hands it to them, falls, drops, shatters, and like a big epic fail kind of video.
I think it would have been better as a prank, just have a box full of shattered glass, and you just drop it and you hear this huge crack,
or just it'd be one of the
kidding. Yeah.
Google Cardboard. Here you go.
Yeah.
Put it together yourself. Oh man,
that would have been something else.
But it looked good. I'm just waiting for more stuff to come out. It's finally out for the consumer. So
yeah. I mean, again, at The Verge has just reported on it. Engadget, a bunch of other companies have already gotten their versions on it. They've done their reviews in it, and everybody kind of likes it. There are plenty of videos on the internet, on YouTube, of people trying it out and really enjoying it quite a bit. But again, it's comparatively, there's nothing to do about it yet. We're getting a better idea of like how it compares to the competition once there's competition. So that's going to be a thing we're going to do. Yeah. But moving on to other tech news, we have Microsoft Build announcements. Microsoft Build, their conference happened this week, and Microsoft had a few interesting announcements. Now, this conference is mostly geared towards developers, not for the average consumer, but there were some interesting things that the regular consumer might find interesting. Beginning with that the Xbox One, all of them can be turned into developer kits free of charge. Previously, it cost you about $3,000 to get a specialized Xbox One developer kit. It was a special rig with special software in which you can develop games and test them. Now you can turn any Xbox One, including yours, into a developer kit, and you can then develop apps, video games for it, and test them on it. So it's kind of cool. Let's see, the dev mode will be available starting this week as a preview and finalized as a full release this summer. The second big announcement from the Build conference is that the HoloLens developer kits will start shipping this week. It'll also cost you $3,000 though. They showed off Holoportation, a full 3D holographic video capture and transmission process. Kind of like the Princess Leia from Star Wars scene where come help us, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope thing. They even have a special filter for it where it turns everyone blue.
That's cool. In
a very Star Wars-y, kind of vein. I like we have the video in our show notes if you guys want to check it out. But it's interesting. I kind of like it. It feels very futuristic to me.
It's just, we're living in that era now. It's just a matter of how it's going to evolve and hopefully improve, because this is just the beginning.
Yeah, and it's also not just live, because you can do it live. You can like video conference with a fully 3D character that's basically scanned with a bunch of cameras in a room and interact with them. You could also record messages or videos or presentations, whatever it is, and then play them back and resize them to whatever. You can have them full size. You can shrink them down to something you can hold in your palm, literally.
Yeah, it's very Tony Stark Avengers, where he plays out with the whole map-on thing. Minority Report / holodeck, especially since you have like a...
Yeah, this feels a little more like the holodeck than anything we've seen before, because they're dealing with 3D holograms in a real-world environment. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting and new. Again, this is a technology that's still several development years into the future. I'd say at least 3 to 5 before we actually see consumer version. Just like it took about 4 years before we actually had a consumer version of the Oculus Rift for VR stuff. It's going to be about the same cycle for the HoloLens before it becomes ready for full consumer version. But it's kind of neat to see some of the things that developers and Microsoft are thinking about using it for. Now, the third big announcement from this conference was Microsoft Bot Framework. This was actually the biggest story, I think, from the Build conference, is that Microsoft is turning towards bots as a potential solution for a lot of customer service issues, we can say. This tool is in preview mode, and it lets developers build their own chatbots into apps automatically. Chatbots are programs that are chat-based conversations between a user and an automated response system. It can be so realistic that some users don't actually realize that they're not talking to a real person, but are essentially talking to an artificial intelligence or a machine. Skype will get chatbots built for desktop, iOS, Android, and its own Skype bot platform. Examples include booking a hotel room or arranging a delivery of cupcakes. If you're not up to date on this particular issue, it's kind of a neat frontier. A lot of very smart people, a lot of developers and tech people are seeing bots as a new thing or a developing process and application of artificial intelligence. This has been in the news the last few weeks on really nerdy tech people, because there are a lot of programs and a lot of companies that are seeing this as, instead of hiring a bunch of people as customer service reps, we can just create programs to answer common questions. And if it's something really specialized that the chatbot can't handle, we can always switch them to a live person. But this way, it saves them a lot of money. And the artificial intelligence is so advanced that, again, most people wouldn't recognize that it's not, a real person.
Which is, it's going to put some people out of work, but it's the evolution of technology. Because the current thing, I don't know if you guys ever had the experience, ever had a call, like automatic call in, say your bank or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, how can we help you? Blah, blah, blah. Please say whatever your problem is. Yeah. And they'll say like, oh, is it banking? It's like Siri, pretty much like you're working with
Siri would be considered a chatbot or an AI kind of system like this.
Yeah, and then it just evolved to the point that obviously if you're asking really specific questions or something that, you're asking more of an opinion kind of thing or whatnot, then yes, I'll transfer it to a real person.
Yeah, but these chatbots, again, are becoming so specialized and so specific that they can do most functions. And once you incorporate better speech recognition, you don't even have to use keywords like, hey, and then, Siri to activate it, or you can just speak to them conversationally, or text them conversationally, and they'll actually be able to understand you contextually and answer your questions. Yeah. So the advancement from just using kind of these dumb bots where you have to use keywords like search for, whatever you're looking for, or look for, whatever specialized word they use as triggers to activate a program sequence, you can just speak normally and say, I'm looking for, pasta. Can we get that order to my house? And it'll say, yeah, sure. We'll get that order to you. It'll cost you blah, blah, blah. And it'll be there on Friday.
What's the other one that's kind of similar to that? Was it the Echo or the other?
Yeah, Echo's a good example of that in that it uses more natural language interfaces. But again, this is becoming more and more ubiquitous where you can just talk to your phone or this is really big in actually China right now. WeChat is a messaging platform that also incorporates very advanced chatbot systems where people can pay their bills through it. They can order groceries, they can order pizzas, and it's all very natural. Like even older people who aren't technologically savvy, if they can type on it, they can do a lot of things. They become very functional for them. Yeah,
love old people and technology. I wonder how long will the chatbot, handle talks about the old war and whatnot, or how come, what's wrong with the kids today and the rap music? And
I think that's I think honestly that's a really good application for this kind of, because the chatbot doesn't care how long you're talking to it.
Just nods and smiles.
It just nods and smiles, and it'll go on indefinitely. So it's a great way of fulfilling that interaction purpose that we all kind of need, but that most youngsters don't have the patience for.
Exactly.
So I hadn't thought about it. So good application, actually.
Yeah. Old people app.
Yep.
All right. Another app related item. Instagram video. Instagram announced in the blog post that it's increased video posts to be up to a minute. This feature will roll out to users all over the next few months. iOS users also got back the ability to make videos from clips on the camera roll, starting with today's app update.
Yeah. So yay for Instagram users. I think their previous cap was like 15 seconds or 30 seconds.
Very much almost like a Vine.
Yeah, they were trying to go for that Vine crowd, and now they decided, okay, we're just going to up it up to a minute, and that's great for Instagram users.
Yeah, because the Vines, it's pretty much for the ADD entertainment people, because they can only capture their attention for so long.
It's very generational, a much younger generation than I think we kind of fit into, but there's some really good stuff out of it. Whenever there are limitations, you will see some very creative solutions to creating entertainment. And there's some great Vine stars who have created very entertaining videos or series of videos and become quite famous on this.
Oh yeah, I was so surprised. I'm like, how the heck is this person have over 1 million followers, or why is this so popular? This person's so popular. There is I think other shows or whatnot. I don't know what it was called, but it's like that one, a voiceover special that we saw. If we've been to a Comic-Con, it's like voice actors. Yeah. They're like the most famous characters or the most famous people you'll never know.
Yeah.
But it's also a generational thing too, because there's people that what's that? PewDie, whatever.
PewDie, yeah. He's a YouTube star. Yeah. Slightly different than a Vine star.
I have really barely any idea who he is.
They're definitely specialized in entertainment rockets. Like PewDie is more geared towards the YouTube audience, obviously. And it's kind of like, I would say their crowd kind of crosses over with Vine. But again, they're just specialized. Like Vine is 15-second or 30-second videos, and that's all the time you have to make it entertaining. And a lot of people have kind of conformed to that and really streamlined their entertainment and their joke structure and their video structure, and it works.
Before it was like your 15 minutes of fame, now it's
15
down
seconds.
to exactly.
Yeah. Okay, and gaming news. Final Fantasy 15 comes out finally. This week, the release date for Final Fantasy 15 was leaked ahead of the official Square Enix press release, but the company also had a bunch of other press releases for the game. So that happened, and we're telling you about it. The release date is September 30th, 2016. Yay. That's about the same time that Iron Fist. What's the other guy?
Power Man?
Power Man, that's it. When Power Man's Netflix show comes out.
Oh, okay. I'm like, where are you going with
Literally
this?
the same week, I think.
Well, depending if you're a hardcore gamer, you'll probably have it playing while you're playing the game. So
Absolutely. This is really this game is the reason I chose the PS4 over the Xbox One. So I'm definitely going to go pre-order it.
I'm closing. I'm waiting for Kingdom Hearts because I'm the Kingdom Hearts guy. It is to the best of my knowledge, will be coming out eventually to the Xbox One.
Yes,
but
eventually.
I kind of want to get a PS4 so I could play all the previous games.
Well, now you can order a pre-bundle package with PS4 and their PS4 their Gear PlayStation VR, so you can get the whole thing now.
I'm tempted.
There's a wonderful game trailer. We have it on our show notes, folks. Check it out. It's a beautiful game. Lots of great tactical action now. It's very pretty, I should say. Additionally, they're going to get an animated series. It's called Brotherhood Final Fantasy 15. This series is kind of a prequel, telling the story of the main character and how he became friends with 3 other characters that you'll be traveling within the game. The first episode is already up on YouTube, and again, in the show notes you can find the link to that. And also, there's going to be a movie for the Final Fantasy 15. It's a CGI Final Fantasy movie. It's going to come out at the same time as when the video game is released, so about September. It's called Kingsglaive Final Fantasy 15. And again, there's also a movie trailer for that as well in our show notes. It is also very pretty. I almost feel like they used the same engine that they had for the video game to make the movie, because
Why not?
they're that pretty and interchangeable.
Oh yeah, with
so
movies,
it's yeah.
All it was, like, especially with the Final Fantasy series, the cutscenes were amazing.
The cutscenes were always amazing.
You wish you could play the cutscenes.
And if you go look on the internet for just gameplay footage or game engine footage for Final Fantasy 15, it's almost, for a lot of people, indistinguishable for a high quality CGI movie. That their game engine is just so advanced, and it's using all the hardware power of the PS4 to the maximum. So these are beautiful games. I'm looking forward to them for September 30th.
What was that one they revamped? That was the old Final Fantasy that they updated?
Oh, they were still working on it. It's Final Fantasy, I want to say 7 or 8.
Yeah.
I forget the number of the time. Sorry, guys. But it's one of my favorites. It's the one with Cloud. And this giant sword.
Yeah. But it looks so good.
Yeah, but it's that one. I think that one's coming out after Final Fantasy 15. But they're using that same engine, so it's going to be just as nice looking.
Amazing.
Yep. That's going to be it for our geek news section, folks. There wasn't a lot happening. These are the biggest stories this week. In entertainment, there was nothing really happening. We're going to talk about our reviews of like the big things that came out, like the nerdy movies and stuff. Well, so we'll talk about it a little bit later.
Stuff's going to be happening, but it's going to be more of we're going to tap into, because the only thing the big that I could recommend that's happening in about this Sunday, WrestleMania. There we go. See? Yeah. Things that are happening, but again, they're not happening this week yet. Yeah. So we're going to move on to, again, our trailers of the week. Trailers of the week. Now, in our trailers of the week section, we discuss the best trailers that came out this week. And remember, you can watch all the full trailers at geekbytespodcast.com. And we begin this week with the trailer for Alice Through the Looking Glass. Alice returns to the whimsical world of Underland and travels back in time to save the Mad Hatter. The psychedelic trailer shows off some new CGI scenes and some of the early story where Alice is in the mental institute. Yeah,
I like this trailer more than all the previous ones, just because it gave you some kind of context for why Alice kind of acts the way she does, and why she's so intent on going back to Wonderland. And it almost kind of gives you a feeling, well, is Alice really visiting Wonderland, or is she just visiting in her mind? Mm-hmm. So I like that ambiguity of it. It makes it feel a little more realistic as to why all these weird and crazy things are happening. And I love the soundtrack. The soundtrack really does give you that vibe of like
because
the
it's the
psychedelic
60s, 70s,
kind of thing.
Because it starts with like one pill takes you this, one pill does that. Or one bite, something.
So one bite of a mushroom makes you big. One makes you smaller.
Psychedelics.
Yeah, there's very interesting psychedelic kind of stuff going on there.
The visuals, Disney went with it.
Yeah, the visuals kind of match that kind of feel, and it works for the overall vibe of the film.
You get some of the old cast back. Mm-hmm. It's going to be one of the last movies if Mr. Snape guy, what's his name?
Severus Snape.
We know who it is and everything, but one of his last works before he passed, so it'd be a big like homage to them. I wouldn't doubt they'll probably do like maybe an in memory or thanks for whatever, and
like at the end, yeah. But it looks like an interesting film. It comes out later this year, so one to look forward to.
Yeah.
Another trailer that came out this week was Warcraft for the Horde. Based on the popular Blizzard video game of the same name, the movie tells the story of how the orc race fled their dying homeworld to colonize and invade the peaceful realm of Azeroth. Now, the peaceful realm part, I'll let them stretch it out. You don't have a standing army if your realm is peaceful. But it's basically the story of how the orcs came into the human and elf world of Azeroth. So if you're a World of Warcraft fan or a Warcraft fan, you're going to love the way this looks. This trailer looks, I'd say, about 10 times better than the previous ones. I think in the previous version of the trailer, their CGI work wasn't quite done yet, but they felt that they had to put something out because it was close to CES and all those summer like conventions. But this definitely looks more polished. All the humans look more human. That was my big criticism of the previous trailers for Warcraft, that the orcs looked amazing, but they're fantasy creatures, so your mind allows you to kind of stretch it out a little bit. But the humans, because we're human and we're used to looking at people all the time, we're very critical and we notice all the little flaws and the weird things. And they really upped the ante on how the humans look. They look almost genuinely like people.
Yeah, I thought green screen kind of thing. They would use real actors and green screen the whole thing, the whole world and everything. But no, they CG the heck out of it.
It's all CGI'd.
It's amazing looking, especially since the Warcraft has over millions and millions of active players.
Yep.
It's ranked so much money. I don't see this movie going to be a big flop at all.
No, this is definitely going to be. You're going to get people in seats. Whether or not it's a critical success, you can never tell until you actually see the movie. I was really hoping that, Avatar was going to be an amazing movie. I went and saw it. They got my money for it, but it wasn't amazing to me.
Yeah, me either. I saw Avatar. I kind of didn't get it. Like, to me, it's like
Dances with Wolves in Space, yeah.
But it was like, I didn't understand how it made so much money, though.
Internationally, it's just kind of a thing, and I'm okay with that. I mean, make money. That's why you make these movies. They're entertaining. That you make money means that you're more going to make them again. I hope that the case that Warcraft is actually a good story, in addition to just being pretty CGI work.
Yeah.
So, but cross our fingers, hope that it's good. But the trailer looks so darn pretty. I have good hopes for it.
Oh yeah, check it out. It looks good. Next look is the Lego Batman movie. If you like the Lego movie, you'll probably like the stop motions animations version of Batman. It's fun, goofy, and appeals to all ages.
Yes, this is funny. This is the second teaser trailer, I should say. They came out for Lego Batman, and it's as irreverent and funny as, the Batman you got from the Lego movie. This one was particularly funny because it shows kind of the irreverent sense of humor that the Batman character has within his own little mini universe of the Batman DC universe, and it's kind of neat. I liked it.
I like the part that it hits a little nostalgia because it acknowledges it's changed through the times.
Yeah, that was
everything from the old '60s Batman all the way up to the current model of the. Well, I don't know if they acknowledge the Batman versus Superman, the Affleck one.
They acknowledge all the versions of Superman, Alfred, in the trailer, in the middle of the teaser trailer. He says, "I've seen you do this before," and he basically names that he's for all the different movies.
And they showed like a very
including like 1970s,
clips of Batman. The live action versions of it. They even showed the infamous nipple outfit Batman suit from Was it Batman and Robin? Probably. Yeah, Batman
so,
and Robin. Yeah. But yeah, it's going to be good. I just want to know more about it because at least from the videos, you saw a majority of the basic villains, but I don't know what the storyline's going to be.
Yeah, they haven't shown the storyline, but even just the sense of humor kind of works with the Lego, movie franchise, and it's very self-referential. It doesn't take itself too seriously. I almost like this one better than the movie that came out already, Batman v Superman. We'll talk about that later, but this is at least
I think it's going to be entertaining because kids will love it just for the visuals, but adults will get it for the jokes in there. Some of the humor, especially for the Batman fans. They tap things in a very humorous way. Everything from the parents to the characters to the whole being, just him even literally walking around and wearing his cowl mask, but wearing a very Hugh Hefner just bathrobe and bare. Looks like he had a hairy chest, according to the little image.
Batman might be a hairy bear. You never know.
Never know.
But yeah, it was super entertaining. I look forward to seeing it. Anything else you want to talk about for the trailers?
Trailer movies. I can't think of anything else that was coming out other than. Well, we'll talk about Batman vs Superman. You saw it. I haven't myself, but I can't think of anything that's grabbing my attention right now other than obviously this movie just came out. Just can't wait for Civil War and Suicide Squad.
Yeah, they're all coming out pretty in the summer. I'm really looking forward to Suicide Squad coming out. That is the comic book movie I'm looking forward to the most after I saw Deadpool. That's the big one that I'm looking for because it's a different story. It's a different take on the superhero thing. It feels like it's a lot more fun. And not quite as serious as, Batman v Superman, of course. But that's going to be for our trailers of the week section, folks. And again, if you want to support us, you can always check us out. All the ways to do so at geekbytespodcast.com/support. Even if you're just going to go buy something on Amazon, click on our banner first at the bottom of the support page, and we actually get like a tiny little percentage as a referral fee for sending you there. It's very tiny, like 5 cents to the dollar.
Seriously,
yeah. But every little bit helps. And if you're going to subscribe to like Kindle Unlimited, which is the unlimited book reading app option, or Kindle Video or Prime, hey, click on our banner first. We'll get like a couple bucks for just sending you there, and you're going to do it anyway, so
yeah,
you're not really out.
As well. Help a brother out, if you will. If anything, there's over, last time I checked, we are over 5,500 strong. So, 5,500 people can't be wrong.
Couple people, folks. But we appreciate any support, of course. But again, on to our discussion section. And of course, in our discussion section, we talk about anything we're interested in this week that doesn't quite fit into the news part. And this week we're talking about a review of Batman v Superman, Daredevil Season 2, and Supergirl and Flash. And I just realized I forgot to watch Supergirl and Flash. Did you watch it?
Honestly, I didn't. I've caught the clips and the trailers on it, and at least to my impression from watching it, they didn't make it like a romantic thing. No. It was like a kind of like a kid brother, kid sister kind of. Yeah,
I gotta say, I haven't watched it. I meant to. We're recording slightly earlier than we were planning to. We have the link to in the show notes for the actual episode from CBS.com. It should be valid for about 2 weeks. Then they'll kick it off their website. But you can watch the full episode online if you want to. It's episode 101, World's Finest. Again, we have a link in our show notes. So please watch it. It's amazing from what I hear. I read the reviews on it. I was kind of waiting to watch it with my wife, and we just kind of didn't get around to it because it just popped up on their website, I think, yesterday.
Do they still do the Nielsen's ratings thing?
Yeah, they do. They still do. And apparently it was a pretty good success as far as Nielsen's goes.
Heavily viewed episode.
Yeah. They've kind of used the Flash to bump up ratings on both Arrow and on Supergirl at this point. Those crossover episodes have been their most successful episodes to date for those two series.
Worked for Family Guy and The Simpsons.
Yeah, absolutely. And Flash on its own is the highest rated, I believe, CW show that they have right now. So using him, in the superhero crossover thing makes perfect sense. They fight some nice supervillains. They kind of justify Flash going into the Supergirl universe. They keep him separate universes, even though they're directed by the same showrunners.
Real quick, did you see that picture of Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes with Zoom in the background?
Yeah,
I was like, oh, and I'm not even a Flash fan.
I've been following Kevin Smith's all the pictures that he's posted, and
what he's allowed to
on my
post.
Facebook. Yeah, for all the time that he spent the last couple weeks on the Flash set directing that one episode, and I'm happy to see that he got Jason Mewes in there in 2 different spots, apparently, according to his testimony on Fat Man and Batman and his other podcast. He said he snuck Jason Mewes in once directly, and another in like a crowd scene. And Jason Mewes was just ecstatic about the fact that he got to visit both the Flash set and the Arrow set, being a huge kind of comic book nerd that he is. And of course, Kevin Smith was just overjoyed in getting to meet the cast and direct them. And, you know, he had only positive things to say about working on the Flash. So I'm looking forward to seeing his particular episode in the next couple weeks.
Definitely.
But that's the Supergirl Flash thing. I'm sorry, folks. We just kind of forgot about it again. We have the link in the show notes. Go watch it for yourself. It's a great episode for me, and we're going to watch it as soon as we're done. But Daredevil Season 2, we totally watched that. You finished it, right?
Oh, yeah. I actually finished that. I binged as much as I could.
You binged it. I'm just missing the last episode just because it's one of those couple things where me and April have been watching it every single week and every single day.
I try to do that with my wife.
Yeah. But so I can't watch it without her, folks. I will lose a testicle, I believe.
Hey, some couples do that. They'll murder you.
They'll
murder you. How dare you watch our show without me?
Netflix betrayal, I think they call it. So but I've seen all the other episodes. We'll let you know in advance, folks. We're going to spoil the heck out of it and Batman v Superman. So if you want to cut out now, do so, please. Thank you for your, watching, and check us out, geekbytespodcast.com/support for all the ways you can help us out. So this is your forewarning.
Give us money. I mean, what? Hi.
Okay, so Daredevil Season 2, we're spoiling the heck out of it. I loved it. I loved all the characters. Punisher storyline was amazing. Elektra storyline was slightly less amazing, but so interesting. And of course, the internal conflicts between Matt Murdock, Foggy, and the whole legal thing was great. What are some of the highlights for the show for the season for you?
I love seeing, this can sound weird, I love seeing more hand. Ninjas.
You love getting more hand, got it.
I love getting more hands. Yeah. Seeing more of the characters, more of them, it started to show a little bit more, which kind of gives you a little hope, a little glimmer of what the Iron Fist show will be
the
about.
Mystical part of it was kind of interesting in that they acknowledge that it basically is magic, but they also kind of try to justify it with Matt doesn't believe that it's magic. It's unexplained science, but he doesn't believe in the magic thing.
Okay, you didn't watch the last episode, so I'm not going to give you much of a spoiler on the last one.
Okay.
But it's totally worth it.
It's the payoff?
It's a cliffhanger.
Oh, is it?
It's a cliffhanger. Oh. It just makes you hate and want to watch. You want season 3 to come out.
Darn you, Daredevil season 2.
But I'm not going to tell you what happens on the cliffhanger. But the big, at least from what I could say without spoiling too much, is the big pit.
Yeah. It comes back.
Yeah, I want to dive in. I want to see what's in the pit.
There's a payoff there, hopefully.
Yeah.
So the storyline basically runs as the first part of Daredevil Season 2 is all about the Punisher. You get to see him killing a bunch of folks. It's, brutally gory. The rise and fall of the Punisher, basically. Punisher versus Daredevil. You could call the first, 4 or 5 episodes, and then it drops off into the legal case of the Punisher, because Matt Murdock and Nelson and Murdock, the legal team, we can remember Matt Murdock, Daredevil, is also a lawyer. They end up representing the Punisher, so that's kind of the B storyline for the middle part of the season. How'd you like that court case portion of it?
It wasn't very Law and Order. It wasn't a really a Law and Order episode.
I felt this was a little more Law and Order-ish than the first season, because they had a set court case that was really big. They spent quite a bit of time in the courtroom for at least 2 episodes, plus all the prep work for it.
Yeah, and it brought a big ethic question.
Yes.
Is who's really wrong? Is he wrong for killing killers, bad people, kicking off the street?
Yeah.
Or is he is guilty for killing, yes, but he's killing with a cause.
Is it justifiable?
There you go.
There was that legal definition, because remember, in this world, superheroes are already popping up. They already have the big guys who are the Avengers. So if you start legally penalizing the small guys like Daredevil, Punisher, Spider-Man, whatever the case is, for their actions in helping the public fight crime, then those same laws would apply towards the big guys. So even though this is kind of a small case for vigilantism, a guy who murders people, it would set precedents in the Marvel Universe for applying it to other superheroes.
Yeah, because it's a clash almost in the styles between like Daredevil and the Punisher.
Yeah.
Like there was even a dialogue dilemma.
Yeah.
He said like, you put him down, I keep him down.
Yeah,
they never gave up.
There was a whole like almost full episode of them going back and forth talking about it, and it comes up again and again before Punisher's taken by the Daredevil. Cause, I mean, you always knew the Daredevil was going to win because it's his show.
Oh yeah, even that scene in.
But it was pretty close. I mean, as long as the Punisher had a gun, he had the advantage. But once he lost any of his weapons, it was Daredevil hands down.
And this is a little bit of a spoiler. Punisher changed the Daredevil to like this chimney kind of thing, and he actually duct tapes a gun to his hand, and he tells him, he tells Fortune's choose. You don't want me to kill this guy because this guy's like a piece of trash. He probably killed or did something, whatever.
Yeah, he was. I mean, in Australian, he's a very minor character, but he does represent the shift between, okay, do we kill bad people or do we try to use them and save them and redeem them from the Daredevil point of view? And the Punisher, uses his last line arguing, well, fine. If you're so big about saving these bad people and trying to redeem them, here's a gun. Only way you're going to stop me is from killing me. As the Punisher. And it's a very interesting moral dilemma for the Daredevil as far as like what is his role in society versus what he can and should do.
Exactly.
And so it's very interesting. That's what, to me, makes it a little more Law and Order than previous season, which is what kind of makes it different from other superhero shows and other superhero movie kind of things, which I loved personally. Yeah. Now, then there was a story with in the middle of the season for Elektra. Honestly, when they introduce her, she almost feels like Lara Croft, as far as like the accent and the adventure attitude kind of thing going on. Felt very Lara Crofty. Maybe obviously it's intentional because as the story develops, you see, that's just the facade. The rich, spoiled girl aspect is really just a cover that she uses to throw people off. And then she does her ninja thing. And, eventually it turns out towards the end of the season that she's already been trained by the same people that trained Daredevil, that there's this whole, secret society thing between the chaste, the good guy ninjas, and the bad guy ninjas. Totally, and there's this long, 1,000-year running dispute between them and them trying to get like supernatural supremacy of the world. This is also Marvel's introduction of, the supernatural magic stuff into their series. So and I like the fact that it's kind of been a slow build-up starting with Daredevil Season 1. You get a glimpse of the ninjas and the Hand with just like one or two people. Some mysticism with Madame Gao like disappearing magically. And them kind of hinting at these bigger supernatural things. And then in Season 2, they kind of explain it with some backstory a little bit more. And they go full force. Although it's not like too CGI yet, as far as I know. I haven't seen the last episode. But it does kind of lead you in very slowly for like, we're building up this backstory of like, there's this supernatural community in addition to superheroes, magic, alien powers kind of thing. So I liked that ninja stuff because it kind of challenges the Daredevil on the martial arts front, but it also kind of gives like some longer term goals and villains that you can reuse later on.
Yeah, and they gave a little bit of almost like a semi-evolutionary origin scene of the weapons. Daredevil gets his new billy club, the one with like the wire that extends out.
Does he? Like in the very end episode, or
I don't know if it's the very end. I thought
I've seen him like in the middle of the season, like using like bouncing it around the room. I don't know that it had a wire on it yet. But like I thought he just like with his echo powers or his one man powers,
he adjusts it,
kind of like bounces it around and then it comes back to him.
Yeah, and also it looked. I'm not sure if it's in the last episode or not. Daredevil takes the Elektra to go see the guy that makes Daredevil's armor.
Because through the whole darn season, I'm like, Daredevil has this amazing armor, and Elektra's supposed to be super rich. I'm like, why hasn't she like gotten some armor guy to make her a costume that protects her? Because time and again she gets cut by these swords, and she's using a katana of her own, and she defends herself well, but nobody's invulnerable. So at some point she's gonna get cut, and it happens.
And eventually,
and I'm like, you're a super rich chick.
Oh yeah. Why
can't you afford some armor?
Or anything, or all personalize anything other than just a little lousy
better weapon.
Mask.
How about some guns?
Looks like a Mortal Kombat character.
Yeah, her mask consists of a handkerchief over her face. I'm like,
That's
oh
her
yeah,
costume.
no one's going to recognize you or your accent, with that outfit.
Or little scars and whatever. But
I'm glad to see that at the very end, they're evolving her character. They do the same thing with the Punisher. Like towards the last few episodes, you finally get to see him in his iconic body armor with the skull painted on him and all the weapons at his disposal, which leads you into like, oh, Punisher has a potentially larger role in the series in the future, maybe his own series. You don't really know. That's kind of up in the air as far as like Marvel casting at this point. Yeah. But we do know that Elektra is going to come back. We know that there are going to be other opportunities for these characters potentially in either the Power Man series, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones season 2, or the Defenders. Which is the buddy group of all these characters together. So there's a lot of great potential. And
eventually, Elektra does get her size as well. Because for the longest time when she came out,
that was the last, I think, third episode from the end.
I was waiting. I'm like, where are they? Where are they? I'm like, she's gonna pull them out from her back or something.
I like that they're the weapons that her split of friends were going to use to kill her. I'm like, oh, so that's how she gets those size. I'm like,
I like it.
So I'm like, oh, that becomes her signature weapon. I was telling my wife, like, there they are. Those are the weapons, her signature weapons that she's known for. And I was like, why is she using the sword the whole time? That's not her thing. And there they go. They explain it away. So overall, what would you rate Daredevil on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'm only going to go 9.
See, I was going to go 9 too, yeah.
The only reason to go 9 is because I felt like I left out some stuff. It looks great. Definitely watch it.
Beautiful.
It's a great show. But I think I'm not going to give too much of a spoiler, but it's because of the cliffhanger. Oh, because of the cliffhanger.
The cliffhanger's lost the point of view because it made you to anticipate another season.
But there's other reasons other than.
No, I liked it. I gave it a 9 too. I'm like, it's not perfect, but it's pretty darn close in my opinion. There are several storylines that keep you invested and they keep switching it up so it's not the same people. I like the fact that they had essentially like an A, B, and a C storyline, Punisher, Daredevil, Elektra. Oh, yeah. And even on the Punisher side, on the Daredevil, I should say, they had both his superhero stuff, but they also had his professional falling out with his legal team. And that definitely diverges from a lot of the main comic book storyline. And it almost ties into the latest Daredevil storyline, where Foggy and him aren't legal partners anymore in the comic book universe. So maybe they're playing into that, or maybe the comic books are playing into the series in that respect. But for a lot of people, that buddy system was the core of Daredevil, vigilante by night, lawyer by day. He helped serve the public as a lawyer during the day, and he helped protect the public by being a vigilante at night. So that was his core identity for a long time. And the fact that he's losing that legal team, that legal support, his connection with the everyday man, might portend some darker times for the Daredevil in like season 3. So, but again, that to me is kind of cool. I like that.
And real quick, another character that made a cameo, or not a cameo, more of a return, and I miss her and I love her so much. The night nurse, Rosario.
She was really good. I liked her. I like the fact that they keep bringing her back, and they're kind of weaving her into all of the Marvel Netflix shows. That's kind of the tying fact in them. She refers to her other friend who is a lot stronger than Matt and anyone vulnerable, and referring to Jessica Jones and of course Power Man, and the fact that she's now kind of independent. She lost her job during the show when
and
there's
a big
attack.
A lot of ethics in this series.
Yeah, I think this is the big ethical, season, just because they had to set it up for the other guys. Like Jessica Jones was like, I don't care if you know who I am. I'm no one's going to believe you. No one wants to believe that, people like me exist. But Daredevil's very much along the lines of like, he's very much the Batmanish character of the Marvel universe. Blind, not quite as rich, but he also has like this moral compass that's unique, and he kind of follows and not killing people, but still trying to protect the public. So it's a very fine line for him, especially with the Catholicism that's very blatant. And
he actually does the.
They're pretty open about it. He's a complex character in that he balances his religion, and his kind of moral guidance towards hurting people. And so for him, it's a very delicate thing, and he's very broody sometimes, but it kind of works for the character. So I, again, loved it. 9 out of 10 for me. Go watch it on Netflix, folks. Now on to Batman v Superman. Dun-dun-dun-dun. This is, I'm going to say this is also spoiler, folks. Sorry, I have a spoiler-free version here. We're going to put up a review on the website if you want to check it out. I had to go into a heck of a lot more detail. Spoiler free. I think it was okay. I kind of gave it a 5 out of 10. When I did my review of it, I watched it on Monday as well of this week. I would say the best thing about Batman v Superman in one sentence is Wonder Woman. She was the best character. She was much better than Batman or Superman combined as far as like the combat stuff. She was just such a drop of grace and joy in this movie that I'm happy to see her there, and I'm looking forward to seeing her in our movie. There was a lot of things I found flawed with the movie. Overall, though, to me, you're going to get out of it what you kind of expect to get out of it, folks. If you're expecting this to be the best movie in the universe, it's not. It's not the best superhero movie. It's not even the best Batman movie. It does play off the storyline from Man of Steel. They totally acknowledge it. They use those events to propel the story forward a little bit. That's why Batman's so angry, is because of all the bad things that happen in Man of Steel, all the people dying. So I like that aspect of it, that they kept the continuity going. I love the fact that they are they kind of use this as a jumping point off for the entire DC universe. They introduced Cyborg, Aquaman, and the Flash, in addition to Wonder Woman, as like brief cameos for everyone except for Wonder Woman. Like Lex Luthor has this file on everybody, and apparently he's named all the characters, so he's the one who names them. So I love that fact of it. So if you're expecting something beyond that, beyond what they promised in the trailers, folks, you're going to be sorely disappointed. But it's a big riff for some people who've seen this movie. Some people really love it. They love the action. They love what they were promised and the fulfillment of it. They love all the little nods to other comic book stuff. And other people just think it's horrible. Like on Rotten Tomatoes, I think they're getting like a 36% out of 100.
Yeah. It was big reviews on it. Fans loved it.
Some fans loved it.
Because it's a comic book movie.
Yeah.
But the critics hated it. They didn't, care less about it. Even they showed this funny little video where at a press junket, both Ben Affleck and what's the other guy's name?
Superman.
Yeah, they were being told like, yeah, man, all the critics are not digging it, and like Ben's just looking down and really sad and everything.
Sad fleck.
Exactly, sad fleck. There you go. And there's this little Vine video where this guy, they're like, how to make Ben Affleck happy. They're holding a little cat, a balloon, a banana, and then eventually had this sign that says like, Batman vs Superman made over $500 million.
Internationally.
That put a smile on his face.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously that's CGI, but that kind of shows the difference between critical reviews and actual people voting with their dollars. I mean, $500 million internationally is a huge success. I don't think anybody thinks that this movie is not going to make like $1 billion at the end of the day, when you include merchandising and international stuff.
Just hopefully, as just like Deadpool, they listen to the fans.
Yeah, so it's going to justify making more of these movies, which is all I care about. I want to see Wonder Woman. I want to see Aquaman, Flash, Cyborg get their own independent films, in addition to like the Justice League. There are some hints, obviously, in this movie that things are going to not work out quite as simply as we thought they were, which I'm happy for. So I liked it. Did you want spoilers for this movie?
Go ahead. I've already saw somebody posted some stuff online already.
Yeah, okay.
So I saw the files.
So far it's been pretty spoiler free, folks. So if you want to cut out now, again, please do so. If you haven't seen the movie, go watch it, see it for yourself. For us, it was like a 5 out of 10. There are some great things about it, not so great things about it, but it kind of depends on expectations.
Check it out. Just even
basically, if you've seen all the trailers for this movie, you've seen all the best scenes of it. So keep that in mind in deciding where you want to spend your money. Now for the spoiler one, let me pull up what I've already written for it. Let's see.
I'm gonna go see it no matter what. Yes, you already saw, so you're gonna let us know everything about it. But I'm gonna wait till the day. Like even with all the information, you're gonna fill me in. There's like some movies that I like a little bit of the spoiler, like especially if there's Easter eggs. Because honestly, unless I see them,
there's some really good Easter eggs here.
Yeah, unless I see them myself.
Like these are some of the things that I loved as far as like the Easter egg stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see. The fight scenes are amazing. But if you've seen the trailers, you've kind of seen most of the fight scenes. But the fight scenes are so worth it seeing again. They give you a little more context. Some of the small jokes were cool. Ben Affleck was a very good Bruce Wayne. He's a mediocre Batman, honestly. I mean, you can put anybody behind the cowl, and they're all kind of the same, especially since you don't hear Ben Affleck's voice for Batman. It's like voice modulated. Mm-hmm. But as Bruce Wayne, he does a really good job. I liked him. So Batfleck did a good job. He's not a horrible actor. Wonder Woman again was the best part. Like as like dressed down Wonder Woman, she's okay. She's very pretty. She's very attractive. She does a good job. They don't use that aspect of her as Diana very much. She's in only a couple scenes, but once you see her in costume with a sword and shield, she's a real badass. I mean, she's more of a badass than Batman and Superman combined. Like, she cuts off a dude name's hand. She literally slices off his hand at one point during the movie, and she just, as a character, you see her just enjoying the fight so much. Like, she starts laughing during the fight with Doomsday, even though, you know, she's not exactly winning. Just because as an Amazonian warrior, that works for the character. So I'm like, oh, she really gets into it. So I think that's cool. Again, the setup for the Justice League was amazing. Just in like the small snippets of like, it's supposed to be like captured sneak footage that Lex Luthor got for all the characters as metahumans for Cyborg, Flash, and Aquaman. But even though they were super short, I thought they were pretty cool. They kind of give you hints at what their storylines are going to be in the Justice League movie and their own independent films. So they were great. I loved the flack that they are hinting at Darkseid and the Parademons for Justice League being the villains. You've seen the trailers of this. If you've seen the trailers, then you've actually seen the scene we're referring to. There's a scene where it's a Batman dream where he's like Desert Batman. And he's talking to like his followers looking for kryptonite. It's a desert scene. And then Superman and his goons come in and like put them all down. Wow. That scene where he like pulls off his mask and he sees Bruce Wayne. That's a dream sequence, but it's also not a dream sequence because in that scene, in the actual movie scene, again, spoilers folks, parademons show up. These winged creatures with like these goggle-like eyes and these like, alien-looking weapons. They show up in the sky and they come down and they help like beat up Batman basically. And so that's a really big hint of like Darkseid, showing up in a dream, or is it the future? Because in like the very next scene, you actually get kind of this, a flash of Flash. Like it's a time traveling Flash. Like he comes in very quickly saying, Bruce, you're right. Lois is the key. I'm here too soon. And then he kind of disappears. No. And then Bruce Wayne wakes up and, he thinks it's a dream basically, but it kind of hints at, this is like an alternate timeline kind of thing where if Lois dies, this future happens. And if things work out differently for Batman and Superman, then maybe they can change the future. But either way, it looks like Darkseid's on his way to Earth. And that kind of fits in with the storyline for the New 52 when they rebooted the Justice League in the comic books. That was the villain for the first storyline. It was Darkseid versus the Justice League. So it works in that respect. Again, there are a ton of cons you can read on our review online if you want to. Like the villains not making sense. A lot of the storyline doesn't like the fight between Batman and Superman switches from super enemies to super friends on the turn of a dime. Like literally from 1 second to the next, it's like, my mom's name's Martha, your mom's name's Martha, we can be super friends. That's what happens, literally.
My thought was always like, I wasn't sure, especially because of this movie going to lead up to those characters, to the Justice League, if they were going to go semi the route of Marvel and just kind of do sort of hints, if you will, of like leading up to Darkseid, because the same way they, kind of tease.
They definitely hinted. And I think there was a deleted scene that they released this week where it was Lex Luthor with the Boom 2 box or at the Mother box. And so they hint at, was Lex Luthor the whole time an agent of Darkseid, which is not in the movie. And it would help to explain why he was such a weird planner, like what his plans were for. And if they included in the movie, we'll kind of explain, he's trying to get rid of these superheroes for Darkseid. But it's not in the movie, so it's not official canon. At least until, the director edition comes out. But like I said, go watch it, folks. That's our review for Batman v Superman. Again, I would watch it again if it was free, but I wouldn't pay to watch it again. But I'm glad that I did pay for it to watch it at least once. Support the series, support the company.
Did you stay there from the beginning to the end?
Yeah, there's no extras.
no post.
Yeah.
Nothing.
The end of the credits are just the end of the credits.
So
So there's nothing afterwards, unfortunately, folks. Again, we're going to get an extended version of this movie when they do the director's cut for the DVD release, or the Blu-ray release, I should say. There's going to be extended scenes.
All the bonus features
it's going to be
on
a
it for
rated
sure.
R version of it, apparently. I don't know how it's going to be better or worse, but, we might get...
As long as Batman or Superman safe, totally for that.
That would be a thing. Okay, so that's going to be it for us, folks. Thank you very much for listening. And if you want to support us, if you like the podcast, check us out at geekbytespodcast.com /support. But for Geek Bytes Podcast, I'm Ramon Mejia.
I'm Edgardo Costa.
Thank you for listening, and go geek out about something.